And believe me, I did a lot of research on it. And according to all...
If I put down exactly what happened, it's too hard to take. No,
you may have watched Mel Gibson's blockbuster film The Passion of Christ, but you might not be aware of the extraordinary backstage events. The movie's lightning strikes strange injuries and eerie coincidences seem like they are straight out of a script, but they were all hauntingly real. Did the intense spiritual nature of the film bring any real-life curses or bad luck to those involved? Was it true that the actor who played Jesus, Jim Cavell, came dangerously close to death many times while filming, or was it just a publicity stunt? Join me as we reveal the shocking on-set incidents that terrify the cast and crew. Mel Gibson wanted to portray Jesus' last hours with an authenticity and intensity that are rarely seen on film, filming in Hebrew, Latin and Aramaic, and creating environments so realistic that they seem to take audiences back to Jerusalem in the 1st century. Jim Cavell, who played Jesus, carried the immense weight of this vision literally. In a particularly intense scene, while Cavell was carrying a heavy real cross, he fell and dislocated his shoulder. The painful cry he let out was not an acted, was pure unfiltered agony captured on camera. Kaisel was unintentionally hit by a whip during the production of one of the most violent scenes, leaving him permanently scarred, a haunting reminder of the part he was playing. Then there was the today Cavell was hit by lightning while filming another important scene. Many interpreted it as a sign from God. Was Jim Kaisel the only one who experienced these unsettling events while filming? Definitely not, even though they were concentrating on their work. The technical crew was unable to ignore the odd happenings on set. Some reported experiencing strange presences which made them tremble. Others described pivotal instances when equipment or C stopped working for no apparent reason, suggesting that invisible forces were at work. However, these mysterious events strengthened their commitment rather than discouraging them. The actors and crew thought they were part of something much bigger than a movie. Gibson refused to go back in the face of accusations of anti-Semitism and criticism of the film's extreme violence, insisting that the plot be as true to the Bible as possible. He took into his own hands, investing $30 million of his own funds in the production after being turned down by big studios that questioned the project's feasibility. Jim Cavell, the actor selected to play Jesus, also shared the spirit of conviction and sacrifice. Before accepting the role, Gibson cautioned him about the possible response and the potential damage to his career. In response, Cavell remained firm. "I think we have to do it even if it's hard." He sealed his fate with that statement. Right from the start, the Passion of the Christ presented a cinematic journey, rich in faith, sacrifice and mystery, destined to go beyond the confines of the screen. Every day felt like a spiritual and physical struggle on the set. The cast and crew fought through the relentless challenges because of a dedication that went beyond the normal requirements of filmmaking. Freezing nights and torrential rains became common, but the real challenge wasn't the weather, it was the weight of the events they were recreating. Each scene was loaded with deep significance and an undertone of unexplainable events that many believed were more than mere. Cast members experienced an unexplainable bond with a drama they were enacting, as though they were part of something heavenly rather than merely portraying a historical event. During filming, Claudia Genie, who portrayed Pilate's wife, recounted having recurring dreams about Jesus' life that were in part of the script. She saw instances of sacrifice and trust in these dreams which caused her to doubt her own beliefs. She later disclosed that While working on the movie, it significantly changed her outlook on spirituality. The production's physical demands caused long-lasting damage. In one scene, Risto Shopov, who played Pontius Pilate, had to hit a table with great force which hurt his wrist. He pushed through the pain, thinking that any sacrifice he made was minimal in comparison to the message they were trying to deliver. Everyone from the principal performers to the technicians shared this commitment and was motivated by the same goal to make a movie that was more than a simple story. It was a spiritual experience. Mel Gibson was aware of the toll the hardships were having on the team, even though they appeared to deepen their emotional connection. Many saw this complete commitment as homage to the character they were playing, transforming every challenge into a confirmation of the movie's more profound significance. The Passion of the Christ set became a place where the extraordinary and ordinary collided, leaving everyone in wonder. One day, while the crew was getting ready for a crucial scene, the lighting apparatus kept breaking down in spite of inspections. Only after spontaneous prayers did the lights return, and some crew members speculated that greater powers were at play. Maya Morgenstern, who played Mary, was emotionally drained by her intense and overpowering commitment to the character, particularly during the scene in which she held Jesus's body. Meanwhile, Mel Gibson's perfectionism occasionally caused him to become frustrated, but these outbursts were soon replaced with gestures of support for his team. Mel Gibson once observed that a number of extras were having difficulty dealing with a bitter cold. He immediately ordered the filming to stop. The set stopped as hot tea was served, and blankets were distributed for many. This case went beyond simply keeping the production moving forward. It demonstrated Gibson's deep concern for the welfare of all those involved. However, the true mystery emerged during a crowd scene when number of extras reported seeing a shadowy person in light robes moving among them, someone who wasn't part of the group. Nobody was able to identify him despite numerous attempts to find him. This unsettling incident, like many others that occurred during the film's production, greatly strengthened the belief that something inexplicably sacred surrounded the making of this film. What happened when the film finally hit theaters was everyone welcoming the movie with open arms. Not exactly when the film was finally released, its influence extended well beyond the theaters. It caused a flurry of responses that cut across religious and secular lines. Church leaders argued passionately about the film's vivid depiction of Jesus's suffering inside the Vatican. Some people, particularly in more conservative Christian communities, were concerned that the interpretation might cause some biblical passages to be misunderstood. Meanwhile, others felt it captured the unadulterated sincerity of his sacrifice. The film didn't just open up conversations, it challenged them, shifting the discussion on faith. Film and Passion of the Christ produced mixed reviews, but also attracted a wide range of audiences, including people who aren't usually interested in religious films. Its effects on the economy were equally significant. Gibson himself funded the whole $30 million project, and the movie broke records for religiously themed movies by earning over $600 million worldwide. This financial success allowed the filmmaker and his team to fund faith-based philanthropic efforts like its production. The film's post-release journey was complicated, leaving lasting cultural and cinematic effect. Gibson concentrated on historical and cultural authenticity right from the start, making sure that every element was grounded in the first century setting in order to create a narrative that was True to the customs of the time, the production team sought the help of historical and religious consultants who dug through manuscripts, mosaics, and old literature. The film's use of ancient languages, including Hebrew, Latin, and Aramaic, was among its most impressive features. This was no easy task for the actors, with the help of linguistic tutors who closely monitored their intonation and pronunciation. The actors spent weeks perfecting the speed. Gibson remained steadfast in his conviction that using the original languages produced a stronger connection to the historical events being portrayed. This decision made filming more difficult. The sets were recreated with equal ambition. A realistic recreation of ancient Jerusalem was created on the cobblestone alleys of Matta, Italy, while costume designers carefully designed each piece of clothing based on archaeological images. Local carpenters and artisans labored diligently for months to construct structures that appear to have existed for centuries. The level of detail was so immersive that many performers later described feeling as though they had traveled back in time. While filming, there were also a lot of changes made to the script. Gibson had initially thought of adding a few apocryphal passages, but religious advisors advised him to stick to the canonical texts in order to prevent any misunderstanding, as the team attempted to strike a balance between biblical authenticity in the film's cinematic requirements. This adaptation process generated internal arguments. Additionally, certain artistic choices stretched beyond the limits of traditional religious filmmaking. For instance, Satan was purposefully portrayed as a transgender figure in order to convey mystery and deception. The actress that portrayed this character, Rosalinda Centeno, described how she psychologically prepared to represent this paradox in order to project a sexy yet disturbing presence. From the design to the performances, every aspect of the production was a manifestation of Gibson's distinct vision. The legacy of the Passion of the Christ continued after its release. Its influence grew over time, creating a religious film before and after projects resulting from the movie's popularity remained impactful for both viewers and